Hello and welcome back to Blackwatch Intel. My name is Crashy, and with the end of Season 4 and Season 5 right on the horizon, I'm going to be giving you my top 5 tips for being a better player and improving in competitive mode. Now, these tips are not in any type of order, but these tips are the top 5 things that I think every player should be paying the most attention to. They're very, very broad, so you can really apply them in many different ways, and some of them will work better than others, and you're going to see. So, tip number 1. Avoid staggering. Now, if you're not familiar with the term staggering or trickling is basically the act of having one or multiple members on your team going into a fight too soon. They essentially are, coming right off respawn, they're stepping up, they're pushing, and then they die before the team ever had a full chance to group. This game is all about ultimate usage and proper team fighting. The way you win this game is by winning the 6-on-6 fight. So if you are not with your 5 other members, you most likely want to wait. Now, obviously, there's some instances where it makes sense to initiate, 5v6 if y'all are right about to get a pick or something like that, or maybe you already do have a pick or two, and it makes sense. But more often than not, if you're not 5v6, if you're not 6 members of your team, then you probably want to wait and avoid staggering as much as possible. So, tip number 2. This one's a pretty standard tip: proper usage of ultimate. Now, I say proper usage, and this is a very blanketed statement because sometimes you just have an amazing ultimate, but more often than not, you want to solo ult less. It just depends on who you are. I mean, if you're a soldier and you see a great opportunity, blow that ultimate. But if you're Zarya, maybe be a little bit more aware of your surrounding and aware of, what your team has. If you're Ana, make sure that the fight is still in a decent space before you throw that nano boost out. So make sure you're using the ultimate with the team for the team, using it for combos, and not just blowing solo ultimates all over the battlefield. Tip number 3, be flexible enough to play any role. Now, this tip is a very general tip because you are going to have a lot of one tricks. You are going to have a lot of people who have mans, and I think that's fine. But what happens when you have multiple one tricks in a game, multiple mains in a game, someone has to be the flex. Now, with that said, still have a main, and I think this is really important because the better you are at your mains, maybe more than one main, the better you're going to do in your games when you have the ability to play that main, but you can also have the strong ability of being a flexible player. So say you're a Genji main, like myself. Sure, play as much Genji as you can, but that doesn't mean you have to one trick. And now, this is my personal preference. I play a ton of Genji, but I'm going to be flexible enough to know that if I need to heal, I can hop on Ana or Lucio. If I, need to play tank, I'm more than comfortable playing some of the off tanks. I'm not much of a Rhine player, but hey, I can help fill in that team, and I think it's a strong asset to be somewhat flexible and still have your mains, still do your best that you can with the heroes that you're really comfortable with. Number 4, swap sooner than later. Now, this tip, again, is very, very subjective, and it's very, there's a lot of variables in different situations where this is a hard tip to narrow down. But I say swap sooner than later because you have to be paying attention to the team comps. If your hero is absolutely countered, I know you just played him for 3-4 minutes, and I know you're at 60-70% to ult, but if it's really just not working, then you should probably just swap then and there. Why waste another 2 minutes getting your ultimate? Why waste another 1 minute getting your ultimate, popping ultimate, and really not getting much out of it? Instead, play for the team, go on ahead and swap, and again, that comes with being a flexible player. So this tip is, again, a little bit subjective. It's so particular to the scenario, but I have found that I have a lot more success when I swap sooner than if I try to wait and grab an ultimate. So number 5 is going to be don't be a hero. Now, I say this because as a Genji player myself, as a DPS main, I try very hard to remind myself of this every single game. I can't be a hero. I can't always go in and expect myself to get all the kills. I can't step in front of the Rhine shields. I can't always be in the backline as Genji. And so you have to be playing for the team. When you get that DPS ultimate and you can wipe the team, make sure it's a good time for it. And that goes back to tip number 2. Don't just blow that solo ultimate. Make sure you are in a scenario where your team can follow up. Be a strong DPS player, be a strong healer or whatever you're playing, but don't be a hero. Play for the team and play well. So I do have a 6th tip. I wanted to go ahead and throw this one in here as kind of like an honorable mention. So tip number 6, and this is a big one to me, and I really didn't know where to throw it in. Communicate with your team. I think communication and teamwork is definitely one of the larger, more important parts of playing competitive Overwatch. And while you are going to run into a lot of people that don't want to communicate or just don't really communicate very well, I think it's important to call things out. Let people know what ultimates you've been keeping track of. Let people know where you're at. Let people know what you see. Call out the targets that are lit up or really low. It's going to help those split-second decisions between getting a kill and being killed yourself, and I think that's going to be a massive tip and a massive change that you could add to your gameplay and even bring to the environment of the team when playing competitive Overwatch. So that's my top 5 tips, and 6th honorable mention tip for going into competitive Overwatch. We have Season 5 right around the corner, and I'm really looking forward to trying to reach my goal of hitting Grandmasters. And that's what I'm shooting for. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please do not leave without leaving a like. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you for the next video.